In this week's episode of Triple T,
After the first day, the smell goes away. You get used to it, but it's like, then you like an updraft happens. You're like, oh shit.
Yep. That's why I laugh at all these social media content creators that are like, you only live once. Forget that 9 to 5. Pursue your passion.
I have a friend who I work with who has a small one, and he's doing it he sells candy to people, to fat kids, and he laughs. He's like, the hypocrisy I'm doing, but it's like, I'm making money off it, trying to pay it off. Dude, if something ever happened to the power grid, like that is that's one of my random fears I have. Like something happens to the grid and power's out. I've been trained, so I can take what I want and what I need. So
It's a good backstage conversation when we're laughing as we press record, because I get the ability to press record whenever, and sometimes maybe Goot's in the middle of a conversation, maybe I'm in the middle of something, and that's the best time to just go live. I feel like maybe it's not, but the professionals might not do that, but turns out we don't really care. We do our own thing, but for whatever reason, if you're listening to this is Triple T Podcast, the one podcast we haven't renamed yet. If you listen to the Beard Laws Podcast on Thursdays, it's not the Beard Laws Podcast anymore. It's Stay Out of My Fridge. We have a cool little jingle and all that stuff. And yeah, we decided to change it because why not? But while we're doing it, we do have an intro for this, and I'm going to play it right. Meow.
Welcome to the Triple T Podcast. We dropping knowledge like it's hot, bringing you the real talk. From the streets to the block, jazzy beats rhyme so tight we'll make your head die. Triple T crew taking over the game, y'all better applaud. Step into the cypher, feel the vibe. We got the style, representing hip hop, going the extra mile. From east coast to west, we break it down the walls. Triple T Podcast, we here to answer the call. Triple T in the
fucking love it, dude.
That seems like a good time for a transition, so we don't have to listen to the full minute and a half. Not that you don't want to, and we do. We're just getting into a goose head nod. For anybody listening, it's me, Matt Beardlaws, joining me as always. Goot is back, baby.
Back.
Hell yeah. Life gets busy, doesn't it?
Damn right, man. It's crazy how fast 2 weeks can go by and your weekend's just gone. Just incredible.
Yep. It really is. But that's the joys of being a father, a husband, and those kids decide to be busy. Holy cow. Not to mention all of the animals that you have, the hobbies that you have.
Damn right. Never ends.
And it's one of those things. If we didn't have the day jobs, we could probably do a lot more things. But it turns out you need money. So the day jobs are important. So I laugh at all these social media content creators that are like, you only live once. Forget that 9 to 5. Pursue your passion. And it's like, yeah, it's not going to work. It's easy to say as you're sitting as probably being like a Walmart greeter and doing social media on the side and doing this and working 3 jobs. It's like it's it's nice. Maybe that was a thing that you could do for. I guarantee you, almost anybody could do it for a year or two and just survive, get by.
Nowadays, depends where you live. But I mean, it's funny when Instagram or whenever a server goes down. What's everyone doing?
Mm-hmm. Or when all of a sudden TikTok's going away and all of those people put all their eggs in one basket and they're short form TikTokers having very good success with the shops and, good for them. But it's like, all right, it goes away. Now what? And actually, Brandon McDermott and myself had a pretty in-depth conversation. Every once in a while, like we keep it kind of lighthearted. And, Euban wasn't there. He's traveling, having a vacation on his broken foot or whatever he had going on. And we kind of had like a more serious talk, and it was really good. Like Brandon at the end, he's like, I'm sorry, man. He goes, I know if Euban was here, we'd be laughing. It'd be a much different vibe. And he goes, we did some real talk. And I'm like, every once in a while. Did we record having a couple beverages at like 11 o'clock at night? Different vibe than when you record potentially at 11 o'clock in the morning and don't have a lot of beers in your belly yet. But
it's good for your
obviously
soul.
Burley's not here. And Houston, they got wrecked.
I know.
They got wrecked with a storm, and hopefully they get that going. It blows my mind that it's been 3-4 days, and they still don't have. They have millions and millions of people without power still.
Dude, if something ever happened to the power grid, like that is a fucking. That's one of my random fears I have. Like something happens to the grid, and power's out. I mean, like this goes into our conversation from last week, like the apocalypse happened or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's how it would start, like the grid going out and just fucking chaos happening.
Pure chaos. Back to what we just said, full circle. What are these TikTokers going to do if they don't have power? You know what I mean? And I have to admit, I mean, we have generators and stuff like that. We'd be okay for a little bit, but when you're not able to get gas because there's no power and stuff, like, I mean, I'm going to be okay for a while, but not that long because I don't have a bunch of, I mean, thankfully the neighbors is my family. We have, I don't have any, but he's got about enough cows and stuff that, you know, we could be fine for a while, but it'd be pure crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine city people.
No.
You know what I mean? Not to like stereotype or whatever, but I've seen people come up here like on vacations that are pure, you know,
Tourists.
almost like what was that movie with Adam Sandler and all the families get together? They go to a cabin retreat. He's like rich movie star with the wife and the kids like only want the fancy water. Grown-ups, yeah. No, it's kind of like that. You get some of those city people and they're away from their technology and this and that. And it's like,
oh yeah. See, I grew up in the city outside of DC, so I mean, I don't know, it was like the suburbs, but I mean, I've hated that area, so I wanted to move to the country. So got that check off my checkbox off. But yeah, there's a cow farm that way, another farm behind me, so I have enough weapons. I've been trained, so I can take what I want and what I need. So
yep.
I mean,
and you have to when it comes down to that. It's almost like feast or famine, right?
I mean, 'cause I've prepped for this shit. There's a river behind me. I can go get water if I need to. My my septic, my well pump, I have a pump at the top, so if the power goes out, I can pump water from there. I have a special generator for that to keep that going for the bathrooms if the power goes out. So I mean, I have a plan for anything that happens.
Well, the more we talk about it, the more my brain gets going, and I'm like, man, if I come into a little bit extra money, I want to buy a freeze dryer in the worst way, and then just each week take a little bit of money and just start drying. Of course, the family's going to want to do the candy bullshit, which
I know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's throw some Skittles or something else in there, and eat some freeze dried candy. But at the end of the day, you freeze dry that stuff. It's not, you know what I mean. That stuff will last forever.
Damn right.
Which is wild. And it's, I know we talked about it, I think, before, but they're like $3,500. They're not cheap, but there's really only a couple of brands that are making it. So that's why I can't wait in the next couple of years. Everybody's going to be selling freeze dried candy, but everybody's going to have the ability to potentially get something like that at a cheaper price. They're cool looking, but like I said, I don't have the money to drop on one of those. It'd be cool though.
I have a friend who I work with who has a small one, and he's doing it he sells candy to people, to fat kids, and he laughs. He's like, the hypocrisy I'm doing, but it's like, I'm making money off it, trying to pay it off.
Crazy money. I mean, I was talking to somebody, it might even been Euban who knew somebody or whatever. Yeah, I think it was Euban has a friend or something like that was a full-time nurse, or the wife's friend or something like that, was able to quit her job being a nurse to sell freeze-dried candy. Like the first person in the area, they go to the stores, buy, say, Skittles or whatever else they're doing in bulk. Yeah. Even by the pallet. And then they just go out with all these machines, throw it in there, and then they get $6 to $10 a bag for like a 4-ounce bag of candy. It's like, oh, like we were at a track meet yesterday. They were selling freeze pops, 50 cents a piece. So people were just $2 for a buck, $2 for a buck, $2 for a buck. And I'm like, God damn, it costs like $3 for a bag of, those just ices or freeze pops, whatever. I mean, you get those. They're what, like this? They're like $3 for a bag, and they're getting $1 for. I'm like, good for you. Like that's a money maker.
That's so smart. It's a hustle, but it's smart.
I mean, it's at a track event, and it was, for us, it was warm. Anytime it's 75, it feels like probably 90 for normal cities and stuff like that. It'd be 100, but we're just last week we had a frost warning, and then it hit 75. Everybody's sweating and complaining how hot it is. But back real quick to the Houston stuff without the power. Obviously, that's why Burley's not here. He has no power. He has no internet. He's not even at his house. I think him and his family are staying with a friend or somebody else that has some power, and it's just wild. He's got to be going nuts. And I partially think that he jinxed it because we were talking, I think, on the Body Wrong podcast. What's the longest you went with showering? And he was like, a day, maybe 2. And you've been and us were like, man, we had storms with no power for a week or whatever. And I can't remember the quote, but it was something like, there's no way I could do that or something. And now he's sitting there.
Being in the sandbox, it's a whole different story. I've been like over a week without taking a shower, and it's just...
Yeah, it is.
After the first day, the smell goes away, you get used to it, but it's like, then you like an updraft happens. You're like, oh shit, like...
Yep. But I mean, you're out there, like I said, camping and stuff like that. You know, I'm thankful I just jump in a body of water with a bar of soap and, you know, clean the hot spots and call her good, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, hopefully they restore power. But I was saying that, like, I have friends that work for like National Grid and stuff like that. And when they see these storms coming and this and that, they get people in the area, they get everybody from everywhere. And I know Houston's a whole different beast than obviously where I'm from, but it's like, how are they letting millions and millions of people without power? Like, it's 2024. You think they'd have this figured out? It just, I don't know, blows my mind. I know it was pretty wild, but man,
Yeah, it is weird when it's not when it's quiet in our group chat, and then all of a sudden this explosion from Burley, all this different stuff, and it's like quiet again. It's like, poor guy.
yep. Yeah, he's definitely he's the hurricane of the chat, you know. You get that quiet eye of the storm, and then it's and because of him, my algorithm is so messed up. I think they know that he hates poop, so I've been having so many videos sending to me where like random people are walking through a grocery store and shitting on stuff, and people are just walking. There's just so much things. I saw the other day like a homeless guy or something passed out in a subway, just pissing and shitting himself. I'm like, I mean, it was like a pretty aggressive stream of piss, and I'm trying to think like, why would anybody want to be somewhat close enough to record this?
Just
that.
For the
I mean, I
clicks,
feel worse for the person sitting around recording it than the person pissing all over the place.
I mean, just if you can survive that 2 minutes of that awful smell and just that awful sight, I mean, you get what, over 100,000 clicks, whatever likes, shares, whatever bullshit. So I mean, it's funny.
People will do anything for likes and views. Almost, it is gross. I'm so thankful I'm not like that.
Oh, same here. Like, I mean, I've started to use my social media more for you, like just to, I don't know, just put out random stuff. So, but yeah, back to that.
You don't cry yourself to sleep. Oh, that video only got 1 like. Oh, that didn't get a like. Thankfully, I'm not like, but I know people that are like that, man. Like they'll delete a video if it doesn't hit this. Like they post it and they watch the numbers and being like, and if it's the brand, their business, I guess it is important. Like I do some marketing and stuff. Like I get it. You want numbers, you want this. It's good for business. But if you're just like a social media content creator and it's a platform that you don't get paid, what does it really matter? Exactly. You're not funneling them to somewhere that leads to sales. Like, why do you really give a shit? And people get disappointed, but it's like, all right, say you get you're averaging 50 likes. Get in front of 50 people and record your content. How awkward are you going to feel?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a whole different experience. Like when I first started out doing podcasting, I was very careful and like trying to be like careful what I said. So it's like when you talk more and more, you get more comfortable to it. Yeah. You build a rapport with the people you're working with. Cause I work with a bunch of different people, you know, from different spectrums. And so it's different. You have to learn their cadence, learn how they talk and then their humor. So you like interject your stuff and be funny, try to make the show good. So then you do that, and you come to another show, and it's like the whole different range of conversation is like boom, 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 fast paced, but it's fun. Like I've grown so much. Like I've learned so much from you and Burley, so it's incredible.
Yeah. Yep. No, even when you like, we had a sidebar conversation when you were on with like Tony and those guys from the Dude Network. Yeah. We love Tony and the Dude Network and the boys. Like just how far you've come. You were like, I think that went well. I'm watching. I'm like, God damn, man, you have grown a lot. And this isn't a shot at anybody. When Triple T started, there were 6 or 8 of us, and it's hard for you to kind of be you. You know what I mean? You're a group. Each person's trying to pick their spot. They're talking over. And other podcasts that you've been on with a lot of people, it's kind of the same way. You know what I mean? Like nobody really overly truly shines when there's a big group of people. You know, I mean, you kind of each have to pick your spot, and it's not a bad thing at all. It's just, it's tough. Like I said, when we started this, it was a couple, and at one point there was 8 of us on Triple T. So we each had a little segment. There was videos, and we did fairly. It was a lot of fun, and it just kind of got to a point where, you know, we all just kind of were like, let's go our own ways, you know, this and that, and develop. You know, they all had brands, jobs. You know, it got tough to commit every single Tuesday at 9:00. So I'm thankful that shit's gone.
I hear you.
It's tough.
Imagine being in a scenario where you go to a place, there's only 4 mics and 5 hosts.
Yeah.
Sucks.
I couldn't share. I remember that. I remember seeing a couple of videos where a lot of times like you and another guy, when you were talking, we're kind of passing mics back and forth, and it does get tough, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like, none of us, and I don't know their budget by any means, it's none of my business, but I have to imagine none of us are making good money to continually upgrade equipment just from the podcasting. Not saying we have money, we don't have, but podcasting, unless you're that 1% or 0.5%, most people aren't really making any money. I know we're not making any money, which I don't care. I would never do this for the money. Do I click the ads to get a little bit? Yeah, it costs money. We got to pay for our lovely friends at Riverside, which I love. Riverside, it saves me a ton of money. Is there a code and a link? Yeah, shout out to that one person that uses Riverside and gets me $3 every month. Or something like that.
I have that saved, and my wife and I, when she's ready to start a podcast. I mean, my life's gonna be a little crazy next year, pretty much. But
yep,
whenever we have time to do it, I have that link saved, so he'll be getting money from me too. So
yeah, it's not bad. The base package is $19. If anybody wants to start a podcast, $19 a month. I do the $29 just because there's a lot of other shows, so we need more hours. But I love it, man. And the app is good. I've tested the app. We've been there. And like today is, at the time of the recording, is Sunday. The kids, they have their own little podcast. We're going to do that. Me and the wife are going to do our other one. We're all Riverside and different vibes, different mics. And we got into that scenario too the other day where we were recording ours and we were passing mics back and forth because my mobile setup, it's 2 mics. You know, where I'm in studio, it's 4. So we were passing the mic. It was fine. It's all in good fun. But yeah,
speaking of current events, though, like flashback, over 20 years ago? Because I realized my next year is my 20-year anniversary for high school. Wow. What was your prom like?
Oh, I don't like overly remember, but I remember it being like just in a gym, you know, a couple of decorations, some crappy music. Most of my friends, they don't dance, especially sober. You know what I mean? They really, really tried their hardest because a couple of years, you know, sometimes every once in a while there's that idiot that comes in loaded to a school event or something like that, does some stupid stuff, ruins it for everybody else. Not that we were, you know, trying to go to prom to get hammered, but just real small. I mean, we're in a school, my graduating class was like 34 people. So it was very personable. The one thing that really stands out to me is they did the voting or whatever for like the king, the queen. And I just remember like people trying to lobby who should get this, you should vote for this. And I just remember being like, shut the fuck up, who cares? Like, I'm not listening to you. And if you need to have a title or whatever that bad, like, go for it. Like, I remember that, like, just kind of not like a big thing, like it didn't ruin it for me, but it was just kind of like a weird thing. And then some people just being like really hurt that they didn't make the top 5, or I don't know how many there even are.
And it's just court of it, yeah. There's the king and queen in the court of it, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. And I'm wondering, like, this day and age, if they're even allowed to do stuff like that, because, you know, everybody has to have a participation trophy and everybody's a winner and all that crap. But
no, they still do.
But I'm interested, like, how different it is where you were going to school, you know?
Oh my God, yeah. So I went to a school outside DC, and it was me and my football friends. We all got together. I didn't want to go. And
is your prom in the spring?
Yeah, it's in the spring. Like, yeah, but right before school ends. So I told my friends, you know, I don't give a shit about this. I don't want to waste my time and all this. I don't want to get a tux and all that dumb shit. I just rather be home playing video games or outside working out or something, and be outside. Yeah. This girl from a different school asked me because she heard I didn't want to go, and so I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I'll go with you." I'm like, she's a gymnast from a different school. I was like, "That works for me." So we all got together. We got a stretched out Hummer limo. Ooh. It was fucking legit, dude. And goddamn, we went to outside Tyson's Corner. They reserved this hotel, so we had this fucking massive ballroom. Because my class was over 1,000 kids, and so there was all these ice sculptures, like it was buffet set. And no one really drank. You know, it was obviously well supervised, so you couldn't get away with it. You break a flask or something like that. But I mean, it was fun. I mean, dancing, all that fun stuff afterwards, after parties. That's what I remember from it.
That's wild. I'm trying to think. So 1,000 people. So do other classes go, or like is yours a junior prom, senior prom?
It was just senior prom, just seniors.
Oh, okay. So where it is with us in small towns, it's a junior prom, but grades 9 through 12 can all go.
Wow.
Because, you know what I mean? At the end of the day,
wild, yeah.
if it's 30 kids a class, there's 120 people, then they have dates, you're talking 250 people. You know what I mean? If they all go, where it would make sense for you. But yeah, everything around here is a junior prom. And then I believe, I don't know for sure, I almost think that I remember there being like a senior event, which sounds funny because not like old people, but for seniors, like a senior dance or a senior ball, or there was something a little bit different. But I can't remember if that was my school or whatever. I mean, that was 20 something years ago, but it's definitely a junior prom to this day. So
Did you have like a beach week, or like a senior vacation you guys did?
they did a senior trip, but our class, for whatever reason, we decided not to do a senior trip because we didn't have great funds. So we wouldn't have got to go to somewhere really that cool. And our class didn't argue a lot, but I just remember there kind of not being like 30 kids that all really just hung out and like enjoyed each other's company. So nobody wanted to. So what they did for us is, it was kind of, 2003, computers weren't overly a thing. So what they did is you had an option to get like a couple $100 towards a new computer for college or like a handmade chest. I don't know, they did something like that, but yeah, we took the money and did it that way instead of a trip. But a lot of people, the school that my daughter goes to, and my buddy that used to be on a podcast, Logan, their senior trip raised enough money, or their senior class raised enough money, they went to Universal.
Wow.
I think that's the one in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they went down there for 4 or 5 days or whatever.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's nice down there. I go there every year for their Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, I think a friend of mine, shout out Jordan and Greg from the Pretty Killer podcast.
Nice.
If you're ever interested and want to make a guest appearance, she'd love to have it. And you just talk horror movies. That's her thing. She's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. I was on there and I actually did this is going to shock you, top 5 beards in horror movies.
Nice.
And it was a good chat. So yeah, if you ever want to do that, I'll make the connection and see if she is ever looking for a guest. You'd be a good one.
Yeah, because they just announced their first house. It's based on like B horror movies and like spaghetti westerns and just like fun type of stuff. So that's the first one. I'm excited to see if they release the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So it turns 70 years old this year. So
do you think they'll do it this year? Or do you think they'll do a big one in 5 years?
No, I think they'll do it this year because that's one of the Universal monsters that's really not really appreciated. It's not really it's only been one movie or the trilogy, but one good movie. But everyone else has had redos or remakes and all this other different shit. So I'm excited for that.
And it's withstood the times. You know what I mean? It's still, legendary. I mean, a lot of kids. Do you think kids watch horror movies like we did? Not even us, but generations before us. Do you think like kids actually sit down and watch them?
Mine do.
You guys are movie people.
I'm slowly introducing. Even my wife. Sometimes I'll pick a movie. She's like, I've never seen it before. I'm like, yep, that's what I thought. So I've slowly introduced them with the old stuff, like Nosferatu, the silent movies. I'm like, they're well versed. They've seen Dracula, the Werewolf Man, the Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's my favorite. But yeah, I fucking love it.
I feel like such a bad parent because like my wife and her kids, like they've seen them like Disney movies. They're movie people. We've talked about it. I'm not a movie guy. I can't. I have a hard time sitting through. So like we were sitting there last night driving home, and the youngest is like, play this Will Smith song from Aladdin. And I'm like, Will Smith and Aladdin?
I don't think
Will Smith did a Aladdin song, like the main song, what is it, Prince Ali?
Yeah.
He did a song for that, and she loves it. She knows every word. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I looked at my daughter. I'm like, you ever seen Aladdin? Nope. I'm like, you haven't seen so many Disney movies. That's on me. My bad, kid. But like me, I grew up. Of course, we're old school and technology wasn't there. We grew up watching movies. My grandfather had pretty much a movie store in his house, and it's the house that I live in. And I can close my eyes and just see there. And he had it all categorized, numbered, written on there. And if you wanted to borrow one of his VHS, you had to sign it out on the fridge. Same fridge I still have today. And you had to sign it out and then bring it back. And if you didn't, he would call and chew your ass out. But he was a horror movie and like a Western. He loved them. So I remember sitting there watching Leprechaun, Children of the Corn, you know what I mean? All these horror movies, just sitting around the table watching these movies. And I'm like, man, those are memories you can't just, ever forget or get
No.
back, and I'm like, but at the same point, it's different now. I mean, obviously no VHSs, but like just sitting around watching a movie, in the middle of the day, it seems like life is so much busier,
Yeah.
with kids doing 8,000 different things. Like, I don't know the last time we've been able to sit down and have 2.5, 3 hours to watch a movie, let alone like in the middle of a day,
Exactly. It's not going to go along with your point. Like, it's sad, like the physical media is going away. You had VHS, Blu-ray, DVD. Now you have 4K and all this dumb shit. And it's like, I still buy them. Like, I'm very selective what I buy. All my
Yep.
collections in alphabetical order. But with the whole streaming mess, like, Netflix, HBO Max, Disney, Paramount, Shudder. I mean, it's fun just to sit in your ass and use your clicker to find something. But I do like the getting up, like going through my DVD collection and just picking one out and just putting it on.
Same with me in music. Like, I have a pretty, not like crazy, but it's pretty crazy. Those wall fart storage containers that are like 3x4. I bought the
Okay.
white one, a couple of feet wide. Like, I have one of those maxed, filled with vinyl records.
Nice.
Love music. And it's something about it, like you said. We'll go in there. It's all alphabetical. I have it all cataloged and everything like that. And I use an app and a website that actually tells you how much your collection's worth.
Nice.
So that way, and I actually went out and took insurance on it because it's like $12,000.
Fuck,
you know what I mean? If something ever happens to my house and I lose all those, you know what I mean? And my collection is so weird. You know what I mean? Like, some people are like, oh, I'm going to go classic rock. I want everything. Like, I have everything from some country stuff that I've never listened to that I found at a thrift store for $0.25 or a garage sale. But then I went out and spent like $200 on like a limited edition Teenage Bottle Rocket. You know what I mean? But I have such an addictive thing that I have every single thing Teenage Bottle Rocket has ever done. Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, certain bands, I just have to do the whole discography. And then my buddy challenged me that I couldn't get every single thing that Sylvester Stallone was on, whether it was a soundtrack, music he put out, whatever it is. So I have probably the world's greatest Sylvester Stallone vinyl collection. I don't know if that's something to be proud of.
That's badass, dude. Like, it's amazing how vinyls come back and like how hard it is to make it. Like with Metallica buying their own fucking plant to make their own shit. I mean, it's just fucking fascinating. The value is nothing but going to go back up for you. So that's awesome to hear.
It's cool, but it also sucks because now they're kind of mass producing vinyl. You know what I mean? Like Walfart and those places have, vinyls there. And instead of going and finding this or being able to get this for, say, $8, $12, $14, now, you know what I mean? You're paying 25, 30, you know what I mean? You're paying out your ass for it. And all of these other bands that were selling them for $8, $10, they're like, shit, we can't sell them for that anymore. Let's sell them for this. And you're like, you goddamn hipster. But at the same point, whether they're hipsters or whatever, you're making fun of them. It's like, it's cool that it's cycling back. Like, I love the fact that people aren't just pressing stream and playing tunes. Do I still do that? Yeah, my truck, my car every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually audiobooks and some different stuff because I don't know. My brain says you got to consume some different stuff every once in a while.
Damn right. Get some ideas.
You tell that to you,
new thoughts. Mm-hmm.
But all sorts of crazy things. I was looking at a news article the other day. I don't know why my brain went through this. There was this is how my brain broke it down. I love Amazon. I went to buy something on Amazon, and then the story popped up, and it's about a cat. You love cats, and I feel like we talk about it. I don't know if you heard this, but a cat was shipped 650 miles in an Amazon box.
How?
Did you hear about it?
No.
All right, so a stowaway cat. Let me see if I can get up here. Of course, tried to show the article from New York Times, but it's behind a paywall. So let me pull this article up on. You can't use ads. You can't do any of this shit for free. All right.
I mean, I know like there's like a personal driver that'll do that, but like they shipped it in like a legit Amazon truck or a van.
Yeah. So what happened is. Let me see if I can remember because, of course, it's not pulling up here. I'm pretty sure what happened is this family in Utah, of course, it's Utah. Shout out Tyson. They, I think, got like a whole bunch of boots or shoes or something like that. They just got a bunch because they didn't know what size and they knew that they can just return it or whatever. So I guess what happened, and of course, cats love cardboard and boxes and shit. So I think what happened is they had all these boots and all these shoes. They were trying them on. At some point, the cat got in it. the box, and they couldn't really tell because it wasn't a huge cat, but there was it was heavy because it was full of boots. The cat got in the box, they shipped it, and then it went from Utah to Arizona returns, and the person from Amazon opened it up, and there was a cat there.
That's incredible.
I mean, how lucky is this cat that it lived?
I'm surprised it didn't fucking break out of the box. Was that theory Schrodinger's theory? Schrodinger's.
I'm not sure.
That theory the fucking cat going in and out of the box. I've heard on Rick and Morty and Big Bang Theory. Starts with an S.
Samsonite. It was on the briefcase the whole time. Here's the article right here. Thank you to CNN.com. Oh, the New York Post or whatever. Amazon Returns employee wasn't at work the day one of her colleagues at a California warehouse found a small furry stowaway in a box mailed 6 days earlier. 6 days. This cat lived in a box. Wow. She got there April 16th. There was a small calico emerged from a 3x3 cardboard container. Obviously, the cat was frightened and wouldn't eat anything. The cat eventually warmed up, let it pet her, and obviously could tell it belonged to somebody because the way that it was behaving. So this employee took her home that night, fed, cuddled her, all that stuff, was going to take a vet for the next day and check for a microchip. But meanwhile, 630 miles away in Lehi, Utah, Carrie Stevens Clark, probably related to Caitlin Clark, had been eagerly searching for her lost cat.
It's fucking incredible. The cat is
6-year-old cat. It's a cool looking cat.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, so apparently, the cat just loved boxes, got into it, and ended up on a 650-mile 6-day trip. Thankfully, probably was a house cat, was probably a little overfed, a little fat, and could go that many days without eating, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny, because I have 15 cats, and to reduce their weight, because we used to have them free eat. Mm-hmm. So we have big buckets of food, and let's just dump it, they'd eat whenever they wanted to. They all start getting fat and overweight. So we have trays now, there's 10 different openings. So mm-hmm. in the morning, I get up early, I start putting all this stuff out. I have 2 trays, and there's 15 cats behind me following me, ready to go eat. I gotta record it one day, but it's fucking priceless. And but no, a few years ago, I worked at Amazon at a warehouse. I was working overnights because I worked my normal job, then did that at nighttime because I wanted to buy mm-hmm. this massive 3D printer that cost $3,000, mm-hmm. and it was in my budget. I'm I really want this, so I convinced my wife. I'm I want to do this at night during the holidays. I'll get this bonus, incentives like that, and so I would be on a forklift pretty much, and I'd be going up and down getting boxes and orders, right? And it was simple, fast paced, kept you awake. And
for sure.
I don't know how I did it, but I was pretty much working 14 hours out of the day.
Wow.
And it was insane. And but a lot of the stuff was sex order stuff. I'd always giggle laughing whenever I got the butt plugs or the fucking the fucking ass cheeks, you can just have sex with it. I always crack up when I saw that shit because you have a little scanner and it shows up right in front of the picture and where it's located. I'm laughing. I'm this is priceless. Go Christmas.
Well, when I was doing stuff for Amazon, kind of the QVZ stuff for Amazon Live. Mm-hmm. So what happens, just kind of briefly, you go on there, you kind of promote products, anything you want on the carousel. So say you were watching it and you're oh, that's a cool product. You click it, even if you don't buy it. But then anything you add to your cart stays in there, and then you got a percentage of those sales. And you get a report of stuff, not who bought them, but stuff that was bought. And some of the stuff, like you said, that you would see people buying on Amazon, I didn't even know Amazon had some of this stuff.
It's insane.
And from, like you said, whether it was a butt, a swing, or something, there was a lot more of that stuff. And I would get a percentage of those sales. And it was an interesting thing, but the community and all that stuff, it wasn't for me having to, I don't know. It's just weird kind of having to go on there and just nonstop talk to pretty much yourself and be look at this product. And this one. You could make some decent money, and all these companies, they would see that you're on there. They would want to send you stuff just so you could talk about it. And I'm just nah, I don't. There was people that would have a whole room dedicated with stuff that companies sent them just to promote and try to sell. And I'm like, nah, this ain't for me, man. Nah.
This is dedicated side hustle.
Yeah, it wasn't for me, thankfully. But man, oh shit, I'm just looking at this weird. I don't know. I love to go to AP News in the oddities section. I don't know if you ever go there. There's just all sorts of weird friggin' news. And apparently this top article, shout out Burley in Texas, 706 people, 706, named Kyle got together in Texas to try to break a world record.
I saw that fucking article. I laughed when I read the headline. I'm like, I'm not clicking that. I'm like, good for them.
I didn't want to, but I did. And here it is. 706 people. The crown is currently held by a town in Bosnia. Guess how many people named
Bosnia?
Ivan showed up? Their whole thing, we're going to get Kyle. These people were Ivan in Bosnia. And they were going to break it. Everything's bigger in Texas. Let's go Kyle, apparently. 706. Guess what the world record is? 2,325 people named Ivan got together in 2017.
I was going to guess like 900 something. Fucking Bosnia.
Yep. It's not the first time the Kyles have come gunning for the Ivans. Last year, the official count at what has become known as the Gathering of Kyles clocked in 1,490.
Damn. Why not just get Smith, the last name Smith, and go to Massachusetts or something like that and fucking break it?
Yeah. Kyle's not a chart topper among popular names in the U.S., according to the Social Security Administration, which annually tracks the names given to girls and boys in each state. The most recent data showed Kyle ranked 416th among male names. Ivan is 153. Why wouldn't they just go for the most popular name in Texas?
Well, yeah, what would that be?
I know, I'm curious now.
Fucking
most
Andre.
Popular? I don't even know what it would be. Who's big in Texas? Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah. Figured Michael would be big.
Let's see. Okay, the Social Security Administration released the official list of top 5 baby names in Texas for 2023. Liam and Emma.
Liam.
That's the baby names. But I guess obviously, so in about, what do we got? About, 15, 20 years, come back and look for Liam's to break that record. Interesting. What a weird thing. Naming a kid's a weird thing, isn't it?
Oh, it is. My wife and I had an agreement that she would name the girls and I would name the boys. She went like the whole family fucking tree route. Like she was picking random names here and there. I was like, I named my son Bruce. That's my little Batman right there.
Hell yeah. Bruce is solid. Yeah, it's just a weird thing because it's like, man, and then like for me, it was like, okay, if we name the child this, how can kids make fun of that name? So then you start going and it's like, nope, that one's there because it rhymes with this. Or nope, this one's out because, well, it means that. And it's just like, it's sad that you have to think about it, but kids are assholes. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a world we live in. Not now. Kids have always been assholes. There's always kids that are just assholes. Sometimes you're just in a mood and you're an asshole too. That's okay. We've talked a lot about assholes today, haven't we? I blame Burley. Which is weird because I'm pretty sure he loves talking about that, just not what comes out of them.
Exactly.
But I don't know. Looking at the time, I think we did it. That's a good little episode. That was fun as hell. Appreciate you, Burley. Hopefully you get your power back. By the time you're listening or watching this, I guarantee you should have power back. But anybody that's stuck through this, continue to listen. Make sure you guys check out Good on social media. He's ramping it up a little bit, and or don't. I don't care. I'm not the boss of you. You don't have to check us out, but check out all the other shows on the Beard Law Studio. There's a pile of them, especially the Body Wrong, which comes out every Friday morning at 8. Every Thursday is this show. Every Tuesday morning, Triple T Podcast. Every Monday is the Your Town Podcast. There's going to be clips every single day if you're into that stuff as well. But that's all we got. Maybe we're going to have to figure out for something for a Wednesday show.
Ooh.
I have a couple that I record that I just don't put out. Like the ones with the kids, I don't want to do the video for them. There's a lot of creepy people, you know what I mean?
No.
So
I don't put any
putting
pictures of my kids on social media. It drives my mother-in-law crazy, but it makes me laugh. But yeah, my wife and I be working where we work at, like we got all those classes about make sure you be careful you post on social media and stuff like that. So she's like, no pictures of our kids online. So
I'm not not a big fan of it as well. I try not to, but to be honest, I don't really do anything with the personal stuff because I do so much with the other stuff. It's just like I get on, I post, I schedule, and I'm just done. I don't need to waste my time going.
Mm-hmm. For a Wednesday show, we could do something with Hump Day. We gotta incorporate something with Hump Day.
I was thinking too, Burley and myself are kind of working on a little side project.
Another one?
Yeah, well, the same one. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but
it's changed. Yeah, it's evolving.
Yeah, it's one more or less talking about, just being dads and like real talk about dads, which is cool because we podcast with a bunch of dads. So as we, do a couple episodes with us, we're going to bring guys like you and, you, Ben, Tony, whoever else wants to come on just for an episode, just kind of free flow with it. We've recorded a couple, but we each agreed that we wanted to get at least, 8 to 10, maybe 12 under our belt. That way they're pre-recorded, they're scheduled, and then just recording on our own time, with the Rage and Pillage podcast and, Body Wrong, 2. He's like, that's a lot. I'm like, yeah, try 7. So yeah, I think we're going to probably try to roll that out, and that would be the Wednesday show eventually. But softball season, I got less than a month, and then we got time to ramp back up into this. And thankfully, we got the Beard Laws mobile studio, which is my camper, and I have the ability to do stuff from there. So I'm excited. So
fuck yeah.
Right, that's what we got. We'll hit the outro. Goop, appreciate the hell out of you. Hopefully everybody listening has a great rest of your day. You're listening to this, it might be a Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. And if you're listening to it live, it's Memorial Day weekend. So, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. God damn.
It's Memorial Day weekend. So, hell yeah. There we go. Get an extra day. All right, let's hit the outro. Boom. Later, fuckers. Keep your sticks on the ice. Be good to your wieners. Goodbye.
For all the trash cans.
Welcome to the Triple T podcast. We dropping knowledge like it's hot, bringing you the real talk from the streets to the block. Jazzy beats rhyme so tight, we'll make your head nod. Triple T crew taking over the game. Y'all better applaud. Step into the cypher, feel the vibe. We got the style, representing hip hop, going the extra mile. From east coast to west, we break it down the walls. Triple T podcast, we here to answer the call. Triple T in the house is the call.